What will they think of you? How are they going to maybe judge you? Are they going to criticize you? Are they going to say, well, you're not good enough, you're acting like a fraud, you're not really that way? What will people think of you when you share yourself, right? And you create products or services or even fun experiences because you naturally want to create them, right? You want to make a difference in the world. You want to share yourself, right? You want to help solve problems. That's the whole idea that we're talking about in this video. And I'm going to share with you the one thing that changed everything for me, because I felt that way too. I still feel that way. But then I remind myself of this one thing I'm going to share with you in this video that shifted everything and made it easier to create, right? Let's talk about first why it's difficult to share yourself, to express yourself, to create something, to put yourself out there, right? It doesn't matter how it is, whether it's in the business area or social area or whatever area it is. You and I both know that it's challenging to put ourselves out there. And the reason that is because human beings are social creatures, right? We have developed in communities and societies, and one of the reasons that makes human beings kind of the top of the, I guess, food chain, for lack of a better word, or the most advanced species on the planet, and I know that's a loaded statement right there, so take it for what you will, is our ability to cooperate with one another and our ability to have communities and societies and work with one another, right? To achieve even greater results. You've all heard the story that if the very worst punishment for a human being a social creature, is to be ostracized from our community, right? And not have the connection, the human connection, or the ability to interact with other people, right? And so none of us wants to lose that. And it's so deeply ingrained in our psyche that we're very cautious, oftentimes too cautious with what we're doing in the world, right? And on one hand, that's awesome to be cautious, right? I'm a big firm believer that the way we are built and the reasons we have these aversions or tendencies to be cautious when we're in certain situations, they're there for a reason. It's kind of like our brain keeping us from doing things that are uncomfortable because, right, again, putting ourselves out there, right? Hey, you may look foolish. Hey, you may offend someone. Hey, you may this or that, right? It's there for protection. Right? There's a reason for it, there's a purpose for it, and I don't want to ever discount that. However, on the other side of things, we came here to change the world for the better, to make an imprint in the world, to leave our mark in the world, right? To leave our music in the world. I'm a big fan of that statement, don't die with your music still inside of you. Music is whatever it is, products, art, sculpture. Maybe you're going to create music. Maybe you're a public speaker. Maybe you do other things, but your music is what you're expressing, right? And so those are real ideas. There's a real reason for us to be cautious, right? I mean, it's not just something that holds us back. There is an element of resistance in there, but we really are social creatures. We want to have community. We want to have people like us, right? We want to be able to fit in because, again, being ostracized is the worst thing. But here's the thing that changed everything for me, because I have those fears too, right? When I got into the online space, when I launched the podcast, Enhancing the Human Experience, I was very scared, right? Because I was like, who am I to start a podcast on enhancing the human experience? My life isn't perfect. I struggle with fear, doubt, anxiety, worry, right? I struggle with all that, fear of what people will think, right? So I was questioning, do I really am I ready to start this? Am I worthy of starting this, right? Am I going to be taking seriously about doing this? But it was so inspired for me to do that. I mean, this was the journey that I'd been on for 20 years, reading all sorts of books, studying all sorts of techniques, meditation, journaling, all these things to better myself. Because in my early 20s, I realized that if my life's going to get better, and if I'm going to have better experiences, better relationships, right, I've got to start developing myself. And for many years, I kind of did closet personal development, right? Reading the books in private. I didn't tell anyone. It was my own personal journey, right? But then eventually, I think it was in 2013 when I started the podcast, I was like, you know what? I'm going to build a business around this, right? This is something I do. I purchase these books and products. I do these things. maybe there will be a market for it, right? I did what Mark Twain said, and you make your vacation your vocation, and you never have to work a day in your life, right? Even though there is plenty of work involved. But I knew if I built something around that I would never get tired of doing it, because it fills my cup up, and it also hopefully helps you get what you want, right? By me sharing either some of the books that I've written, the courses, these videos. It's a sharing endeavor, right? So that's when I started there. But I was very scared, right? I was very scared. Like, what will people think? But here's the thing. Everything switched when I thought of this idea. And here it is. People aren't thinking about you. They're not thinking about you to the degree that you think they are. Here's what people are thinking about. They're thinking about themselves. They're thinking about the things they're afraid to create, the things they're afraid to do because of fear of what other people might think, right? This is the great comedy of life, right? We all hold ourselves back because we're thinking about what other people think, and they're not thinking about us, right? They have their own goals and dreams, their own things that they want to share in the world, because human beings came here to create. Whatever it is, they came here to create and express themselves. And so when you remember this, when I remember this, it changes everything. It makes it much easier to create. They're not thinking about you. The second thing is this. If you don't create, at the end of your life, you're going to regret what you didn't create, right? There's a phrase out there that says, we regret most the things we don't do in life. And that goes for creating too. What's inside of you? What wants to come through you? What do you want to express? What do you want to make? What do you want to share with the world, right? And remember, in sharing and expressing and doing those things, you're polishing yourself, right? And by you're removing all of the, tarnish from your being. And tarnish is fear and doubt and anxiety and worry about what people are thinking, right? And you're strengthening yourself, right? You're developing courage, developing self-discipline, developing your ability to put yourself out there. Because once you do that enough times, it gets easier and easier, right? The more you get out of your comfort zone, the more it's easier to stay out of your comfort zone, right? And I believe there's no end to what we can create in the world or what we can express in the world, but it does require us to get out of our comfort zone. It does require us to get over this idea of, what will people think? They're going to think I'm a fraud. They're going to judge me. They're going to criticize me. Here's the other thing. All those things are going to happen no matter what you do, right? No matter what you do, people are going to judge you and criticize you. If that's in their nature, right, to do that, they're going to compare with you. They're going to maybe be envious of you. They're going to be jealous of you. All those things are going to happen no matter what. Human beings are just like that. And that's not a bad thing, right? We are built to assess situations and people and put them into compartments. That's how our brains work, right? And that shouldn't hold you back, because again, back to what I mentioned earlier, if you don't do it, what is your life worth? What was it worth here on earth, right? We're creators. I firmly believe that. Everyone has something that they want to create. Stephen Pressfield talks about it in the back of his book, The War of Art. The War of Art. I always get that a little bit mixed up because it's so synonymous with Sun Tzu's book, right? And so if you don't create, he calls it the artist's life, and it's just a short one-page essay. It's like, if you don't create, you not only hurt yourself, you hurt the angels that are looking over you, the rest of society, and he even says you're going to hurt me too, because I'm going to lose out on what you don't create, right? You never know how you're going to impact someone. If your creation is going to inspire someone to create something that's going to save a bunch of lives, make the human experience much more rich and rewarding, or maybe your thing's going to make that, right? You never know. We're all connected so tightly in this like interwoven web of beings, and you never know how you're going to inspire someone else. And again, even if you don't inspire anyone else ever with what you create, the person you become in the process of creating, that's priceless. That's priceless right there. There's so many wins in this idea of creating. Right? Again, a business, a product, a service, an entertaining, fun experience, you name it, right? there's so many wins, and it's layered in there that you cannot lose. Even if no one ever watches your stuff, if no one ever buys your stuff, if no one ever even acknowledges you, you will become a different person. You will remove the fear, doubt, anxiety. And by remove, I mean you're going to slay those demons, right? They're no longer going to bother you. Can you even imagine how much more present in the world and more confident you will be walking around in the world if you slayed the demons of worry and doubt and fear and anxiety every single day, and then they become smaller and smaller and smaller, and they don't bother you, right? And you're staying in that momentum of expressing and creating, and you're just walking around having a lot of fun, experiencing life to the fullest because you slayed all those demons that hold you back. And they're all in our mind, right? They're all these false ideas that we hold, like this idea that what will people think about you, that we've already talked about. They're not thinking about you, right? These false ideas hold us back, or can hold us back for our whole lifetime. And we get to the end of our lives and we're like, well, I didn't create because I was too afraid, right? I get it. That's valid. But what are you missing out on by allowing that demon to win, right? To win in your mind? What are you missing out on? You may never know, right? You don't know how good it can get. You don't know how much confidence you can build. You don't know how much knowledge you can integrate within yourself, right? As you push into these things that you're doing, whether you're starting a business or starting a service-based thing or whatever, you don't know because you're too close to it, who you're becoming. What kind of like a badass you're creating for yourself, right? You're developing yourself to be, right? You don't know because you're too close to it. It's only when you have a glimpse of how far you've come, right, on your journey. Maybe you look back and you remember when you were shy and timid and you didn't have the ability to express yourself. I certainly remember that for sure. But then you realize, I've come a long way. And that's again, priceless. That's priceless. So I hope this video finds you well. I hope you will remember this the next time you're fearful of putting yourself out there, of creating something, of saying something. It doesn't even have to be creating some life-changing product or service. It's just expressing yourself, right? You have an impulse to say something. Maybe you don't squash it next time. Maybe you just let it out and just see what happens. Because in my experience, those impulses, we need to be freely with them and share them when they come up because they're from our higher selves, our inner beings, and we're getting help, right? I look at it this way. We kind of become an open channel for our natural tendencies to, what we naturally think or say. And generally, pretty much always, those ideas and impulses that we get when we're really tuned in and open to them resonate very well with people. And as an understatement, right? That's an understatement. In my own experience, there's a great phrase. It's something Billie Jean talks about. Billie Jean is marketing. He said that what you don't say or what you're not doing is keeping your, he's in marketing space, so he's talking about attracting people to your business, is keeping people from you, right? What you don't say. It's always what we don't do or we don't say that causes the biggest disruption or like negative experience in our lives, right? Yeah, we can sometimes put our foot in our mouths, but at the end of the day, you got to ask yourself, would you rather say something and be bold and courageous and put yourself out there at the risk of looking foolish, or would you rather keep that in and just play it safe? And that's a question you have to answer for yourself. I know where I fall. I would rather look like a fool because I know that I can withstand that, right? I know that I've developed myself in ways that can be like, oh, you win some, you lose some. It doesn't always work. We are human beings. We're going to make mistakes, right? You put yourself out there, you're going to make mistakes. This is why I'm less prone to cancel someone if they make a mistake. Right? Now, if they do it over and over again and there's a pattern, that's a different thing. But I'm less prone to come down hard on someone if they say something that's inappropriate. Maybe they do something that's inappropriate. Because look, it's only the people that are doing something that are going to get criticized. If you don't do anything, you're not going to get criticized. There's a great quote, right? If you, I'll put it up on the screen when I edit this video, but it's something to the effect of, if you never want to be criticized or judged, Don't say anything, don't do anything, don't create anything, and you're going to be just fine, right? But like we talked about earlier, you're not going to be just fine because people are still going to judge and criticize you for not doing something, right? You can't win with other people in the bigger picture. That's why you have to win with yourself. And that's why when you express yourself and you honor yourself and you get in like co-creative communion with yourself and you say, look, we're in this together, you and me, your inner being and your higher self, and you say, look, I'm going to honor you. I'm going to do what you inspire me to do. I'm going to work in communion with you because I trust you. You have a broader perspective, right? Your inner being and your higher self has a broader perspective. It knows you. It knows what you should say at any given point in time. If we get out of our way, it knows what you should create. It knows what you should do in the world. And so that's the most important thing. See, other people don't know you in the way that your higher self knows you. And here's the thing. Would you rather have other people think highly of you, or would you rather think highly of yourself? And would you rather develop a relationship with yourself? It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer because other people, again, they're focused on themselves. It's better to please yourself and to honor yourself and to do what you came here to do and to develop that relationship with yourself where you trust yourself, you have confidence in yourself, you believe yourself, all of these things that come from developing our inner relationship, than to have other people think highly of you. Because look, you're your most important best friend, right? Your most important confidant. This is why trauma occurs, right? In childhood, we have an experience where we perceive someone doesn't like us, or we've done something wrong, and we pull that aspect of our psyche out and we put it in a corner and say, as a child, that's all you know, right? That's all you know is to say, look, I'm wounded here, and I'm wounded because of this aspect about myself, right? I'm going to take that, I'm going to put it in the corner, and I'm never going to look at it again, right? It caused this other person not to like me or not to want to be with me or whatever. I mean, children's brains are wacky, right? And they do weird things. We splinter ourselves off. And then what happens is then later in life, you've got to go through the rebuilding process of bringing these aspects back in line. Nathaniel Branden talks a lot about this, right? You've got to go back to your childhood and put your arms around that kid. You know, it gets me emotional when I think about it. Put your arms around that kid that was you, that didn't know any better, and say, you know what? I love you. I love you, and I'm going to bring back and fully integrate with you with all of these aspects that we put in the corners or put up in shelves or in closets and locked them away. Because here's the thing. Once you do that, you become a super powerful person, and you no longer are fractioned, like splintered off, right? You're a fully integrated, holistic person, and you have the assistance and the power of your little kid. I think a lot about this on my own journey, right? When you reintegrate the child that was you, and maybe you heal that relationship with your child and you go back in time and do that. Like I say, hug them, bring them in, say, you didn't know any better. We fix this. We're going to do this, right? And you walk that journey with your little child, your inner being. Maybe there's multiple aspects of you, right? If you think about that way. But once you integrate holistically back, then you are powerful, right? And I just find it to be super awesome. So I hope this video finds you well. Until next time, I wish you all the best health, wealth, and success. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe for more videos like this. I'm really close to 1,000, and I cannot wait for all of the new exciting content that I want to share with you to help you get more of what you want in life. And also, to that point, if you haven't subscribed to my email list, please do that if you want to get access to my personal collection of thought tools and spiritual tools, manifestation tools, and ideas and practices that have helped me so much on my journey. I'm going to give that to you. I call them tools for conscious creators. And it's a kind of a continually evolving PDF document that you can have access to when you sign up to my email list at gmarkphillips.com/subscribe. And there's a bunch of great tools in there. Some of them are tools that I've created based on things I've learned, but a lot of tools are there from other people, like Stephen Pressfield's The Artist's Life. I'm going to be putting in Carl Jung's The Rainmaker story and some of the things that I think about when I think about that story. There's How to Find the Golden Key by Emmett Fox. A lot of stuff is in there. It's a great resource, right, to help you on your journey with these ideas and stuff like that. So thanks so much for watching. Till next time, have a great day. Bye-bye.